Ash was trained to obey, particularly in perilous situations. However, as firefighters retreated from the collapsing apartment complex, he performed an unexpected act, broke free, and sprinted directly into the flames. All around, people yelled for him to halt, but when his handler, Alex Reed, pursued him and observed where the dog had led, the entire fire ground became still. What did Ash unearth from under the rubble, prompting even experienced firefighters to retreat? Please subscribe and leave a comment below, letting us know your location. Now let's begin. The search and rescue dog halted at a pile of rubble, remaining still despite the firefighters' instructions to exit the burning building. "Get your dog out of there," the chief demanded, until the animal began frantically digging through the debris. The entire rescue team was stunned when they uncovered what was hidden beneath. Before we begin today's story, please leave a comment below and let us know where you're watching from. If you enjoy remarkable dog stories like this one, be sure to click the subscribe button. You're going to want to see what's next. The first alarm shattered the quiet at Westside Fire Station 12 as dawn broke over the city. Firefighter Alex Reed quickly woke from his brief rest in the break room, his training kicking in as he put on his gear. The dispatcher's voice broke through the speakers, conveying clear urgency. "All units, please respond to 1400 Oakwood Terrace. Apartment complex fire, multiple floors involved, with possible entrapments reported." Alex's hands moved with practiced efficiency, securing each strap and buckle as Chief Martinez issued orders across the bay. Then, as he prepared himself, his eyes sought out his partner. Ash, a 4-year-old Belgian Malinois with intelligent amber eyes, was already alert, his muscular body tensed in anticipation. The search and rescue dog displayed no uncertainty, unlike the humans nearby. He showed only focus and readiness. "Ash, gear up," Alex called, and the dog immediately trotted to where his specialized vest hung. The reflective harness displayed the marks of 3 years of service, small burns, tears mended with careful stitches, and patches replaced following difficult rescues. Each mark represented stories of lives saved and perils confronted together. As Engine 12 started, Alex secured Ash in the rescue vehicle. Captain Jenkins looked back from the driver's seat, his aged face serious. Dispatch stated the situation was critical. It involved a 5-story complex. The fire began on the 2nd floor, but flames were now visible from 3 sides. From his position, Alex already observed a column of thick black smoke rising against the dawn sky, creating an ominous silhouette against the awakening city. A familiar tension tightened his chest. It wasn't fear, but the focusing edge of adrenaline that sharpened his senses. Beside him, Ash's breathing remained steady. His eyes remained fixed forward, as if he could already see the task ahead. They rounded the final corner onto Oakwood Terrace, and the disaster revealed itself. The Ridgewood Apartments, housing over 50 families, had become a rapidly spreading fire. Flames were visible from the windows on the 2nd and 3rd floors, climbing upward with alarming speed. Outside, residents stood in night clothes, some wrapped in blankets, others in stunned silence as they observed their homes burning. Chief Martinez was establishing command as Alex exited the truck with Ash at his heels. Engine 12, initiate water supply. Ladder 7, east side evacuation. Reed, prepare Ash. Verify missing persons on floors 3 and 4. Alex swiftly knelt beside Ash, ensuring the proper fit of his protective booties and specialized respirator mask designed to filter smoke particles. "Ready to save lives, buddy?" he asked, looking into those intelligent eyes that displayed only determination. Ash responded with a single, focused bark, their established routine before entering any fire scene. Firefighting operations proceeded with disciplined urgency surrounding them. Water lines stretched across the pavement, ladder trucks were positioned strategically, and teams of firefighters moved with purpose. However, for Alex and Ash, the focus narrowed to a single mission: to locate those unable to escape. The stairwell was a chimney of heat and smoke as they ascended. Alex kept one hand on the railing and the other on Ash's specialized lead, although the dog required little guidance. Amidst the disarray of fire alarms and flames engulfing the building, Ash moved with a determination that appeared almost unreal to those unfamiliar with search dogs in action. Fourth floor first, Alex instructed through his mask, his words barely discernible above the din of the emergency. 3 years prior, Alex couldn't have envisioned this partnership. Following the loss of his previous search dog, Max, in a warehouse collapse, he had vowed to discontinue working with the canine division. The guilt remained intense, the memories too difficult. He'd moved to regular firefighting responsibilities, resolved to protect his heart from further connections. Then came the shelter visit that altered everything. Ash had been found abandoned in a foreclosed home, severely malnourished, but still full of life. Something in the dog's steadfast gaze broke through Alex's carefully built barriers. The shelter worker had said this one knew what it meant to be trapped, and to be found. Now, as they reached the 4th floor, that same determined spirit guided Ash through conditions that would have disoriented most humans. The smoke was so thick that Alex's flashlight created more glare than illumination, but Ash navigated confidently, his nose working through his specialized mask to filter scents from the smoke. Alex shouted, initiating the standard call, though it was likely futile against the fire's roar. But protocol dictated it. Ash suddenly veered left, heading toward apartment 403. The door was closed, but intensely hot, suggesting a fire inside. Alex signaled Ash to retreat, then breached the door using his halogen tool. A surge of heat and black smoke poured out, briefly pushing them back, but Ash quickly regained his focus, guiding Alex through the confusing darkness of what had previously been a family living room. Fire department, is anyone here? Alex repeated, scanning the area with his thermal imaging camera. The furniture was now completely ablaze, transforming the apartment into a labyrinth of flames. Ash emitted a sharp, warning sound and pulled them toward a bedroom door. Alex followed, relying on his partner's senses more than the restricted view his equipment offered. Upon reaching the door, he discovered it was stuck, likely due to heat distortion or an obstruction within. Step back, Ash, he instructed, then forcefully impacted his shoulder against the door several times until it yielded. The bedroom was not as heavily engulfed in flames, but was filled with dangerous smoke. 3 small figures were huddled together on the floor, in the corner farthest from the door. A woman held 2 children, and all were unconscious. I've got victims in 403, Alex reported over his radio, already moving toward the family. The mother and 2 children were unresponsive. Time felt compressed into a series of urgent actions. Alex checked for pulses, all were present but weak. He briefly placed his own mask over each child, allowing them a few seconds of pure oxygen before resuming his own breathing. Using practiced motions, he lifted the smaller child onto his left shoulder and instructed Ash to secure the specially designed pull sleeve on the second child's pajamas, a rescue method they had refined through numerous training exercises. Carrying the mother proved too difficult while also handling the child and the dog, but further firefighters were already en route to his call. 2 members of Ladder 7 emerged from the smoke, appearing like figures in their protective gear. I've got the mother, one stated, already lifting her. You get the kids out. The return trip through the burning apartment was a perilous path, filled with falling debris and rapidly spreading flames. Ash didn't pause, keeping a steady hold on the child's pull sleeve as he moved through the disorder. This was when his preparation proved valuable, the skill to resolve an issue on his own while still obeying Alex's instructions. They arrived at the stairwell just as a portion of the ceiling fell behind them, sending sparks showering over their backs. The children were starting to awaken, a positive indication, but the building was failing quickly. Move! Move! Alex implored, addressing both his human co-workers and to Ash. Descending the staircase proved quicker but riskier than climbing up, as the fire had weakened the building's structure. At last, they emerged through the exit into the comparatively secure staging area, where paramedics were present. Alex released the children into the care of the medical staff, observing as oxygen masks were placed over their faces. Ash loosened his hold on the pole sleeve only when Alex gave the command, then stood watch nearby as the medical team worked. The radio crackled with new urgency. All interior teams, be advised, we have reports of an elderly couple still missing in 312. Anyone available to check? Alex met Ash's gaze, who appeared completely unfazed by the ordeal they'd just survived. Despite the heat and exertion, the dogs stood ready, awaiting the next command. Rescue 4 responding, Alex reported, Reed and Ash heading to the third floor. This was their established pattern, their objective, a recurring sequence of risk and rescue that characterized their partnership. They returned toward the burning building with minimal pause, taking only a quick drink of water each, unswayed by the flames now visible from nearly every window. The third floor presented a devastated scene of fallen ceiling tiles, shattered glass, and flame-damaged furniture. The building's sprinkler system had activated, but was clearly inadequate, creating a disturbing imitation of rainfall that transformed the smoke into a hazardous mist instead of suppressing the fire. 312 should be to the right, Alex muttered, primarily to himself as Ash headed in that direction. The heat pressed against them, a palpable force, straining the boundaries of both man and dog's protective gear. Alex's thermal sensors indicated excessively high ambient temperatures. Time was limited before the environment became unsustainable. Ash halted outside apartment 312, his posture indicating a heightened state of readiness. The door was already ajar, probably due to previous evacuation efforts. Alex pushed it open further, and his halogen tool illuminated an apartment beginning to be engulfed by fire. Fire department. Shout out. Unexpectedly, a weak voice responded from within. Help, we are here. Bathroom. Without being told, Ash moved towards where the voice originated. There, they discovered an elderly man kneeling beside the bathtub, his wife lying unconscious, a damp towel covering her face in a frantic effort to reduce the smoke. With assistance from further firefighters, who arrived promptly, they safely evacuated the elderly couple through a fire escape, coinciding with that part of the building exhibiting signs of potential collapse. Almost immediately after Alex's boots made contact with the concrete, a loud groaning signaled the partial collapse of the building's eastern section, exactly where they had been only moments before. All personnel accounted for? Chief Martinez's voice resonated over the radios and throughout the staging area. A rapid series of confirmations then followed as team leaders checked the safety of their team members. Alex examined Ash carefully, using familiar motions to check for any hidden injuries. Finding none, he took off the dog's breathing mask, allowing Ash to breathe easily in the comparatively fresh air outside. You did well, buddy, he said softly, offering water from a specialized bottle. Really well. Chief Martinez arrived, his face covered in soot under his helmet. You and Ash take 15. Position yourself on the southwest corner with Engine 3. We will be taking a defensive posture around the entire structure. The building is too severely damaged to allow for any additional entries. Alex acknowledged, appreciating the short break. He led Ash to the rehabilitation station where Dr. Chun, the department veterinarian, was already present, having been summoned for the significant incident. Let me see him, Dr. Chun stated, quickly assessing Ash's respiratory rate and inspecting his paws for burns. He is exhibiting mild heat stress, but it is not serious. Ensure he remains hydrated and in the shade for at least 15 minutes. All residents accounted for? Alex asked a nearby officer who was updating the incident board. As far as we can tell, she replied, checking her clipboard. The building manager confirmed all apartments evacuated or searched, 17 to hospital, no confirmed fatalities. Alex felt the familiar mixture of exhaustion and relief that came with a successful evacuation. He turned to tell Ash the good news, but noticed the dog's behavior had shifted dramatically. The easygoing stance of a working dog, enjoying a deserved rest, had vanished. Instead, Ash stood stiffly, ears pricked, eyes locked on the burning building with an intensity Alex readily understood. Ash, what is it? He asked, instantly aware of the change. The dog whined, a sound seldom heard from the trained rescue animal, and advanced several steps toward the burning building before glancing back at Alex with unmistakable urgency. There's no one else in there, buddy, Alex said, attempting to reassure him. We got everyone out. Yet, even as he spoke, a chilling sense of foreboding arose within him. In 3 years of partnership, he had never once seen Ash incorrect regarding a possible victim. Should the dog suspect someone was still present, then someone was, irrespective of the official headcount. Ash barked sharply, the sound piercing the noise of the fire scene. Subsequently, the bark was more insistent. "Whoa, settle him down," advised Lieutenant Wilson, who had been assigned temporary handling duties, while Alex prepared to join the exterior firefighting efforts. "He's likely just reacting to all the stimulation." Wilson attempted to grasp Ash's leash, but the dog retreated, barking with rising intensity, his gaze fixed on the burning building. "Something's wrong," Alex stated, already reaching for his equipment. "He doesn't act like this. Never." Before Wilson could retrieve the leash, Ash reacted, propelling himself forward with such unexpected power that the clasp securing his harness to the lead broke apart. Within a moment, the rescue dog was sprinting across the fire ground, maneuvering between firefighters and equipment with unwavering focus. "Ash!" Alex yelled, a wave of dread washing over him as he observed his partner heading toward the structure, completely consumed by fire. "Ash, stop!" But the dog had already moved through a ground-floor entrance, disappearing into the smoke and flames without pause. "Mayday! Mayday!" Alex shouted into his radio, already heading for his equipment. "Canine officer has re-entered the building. East entrance, ground floor." The response was immediate and incredulous. "Say again, Reed." "Your dog went back in," they stated. Alex was quickly attaching his oxygen tank, skipping standard checks due to his urgency. "Affirmative. Ash has re-entered. He's detecting something, suggesting someone might still be inside." "Negative on re-entry, Reed." Chief Martinez's immediate order came. "The building is structurally compromised. I repeat, do not enter that building." Despite the urgency, Alex's hands remained steady as he fastened his mask and helmet. 3 years of partnership, hundreds of hours of training, and dozens of live rescues had instilled in him a fundamental understanding. Ash never erred concerning victims. If the dog indicated someone was present, then someone was there. Official headcounts were irrelevant. "With respect, Chief," Alex responded, already moving toward the building. "My partner is inside, and he has located something. I'm entering the structure." "Reed, stand down." Martinez's voice boomed, reaching both the radio and the staging area, as he noticed Alex's action. "That is a direct order." For a fleeting instant, Alex paused, 15 years of trained obedience clashing with the firm belief that his partner required his help. Then, a recollection surfaced. Max, his initial partner, had been lost because Alex had obeyed a withdrawal command instead of following the dog's intuition. "I cannot, sir," he responded succinctly, and he entered the smoke. The building's interior was almost unrecognizable compared to just 20 minutes prior. What had been a hazardous but passable structure was now a scene of collapsed ceilings, burning furniture, and structural beams dangling overhead. The temperature had climbed to levels straining his protective gear. The air was so intensely hot that each breath felt like inhaling fire despite his SCBA. "Alex," called, his voice muffled by his mask and the constant roar of the fire. "Ash." Navigating by memory and instinct, he pushed toward where apartment 104 should be, the direction Ash had headed. Visibility was near zero, forcing him to stay low and move by feel as much as sight. His thermal imaging camera showed little beyond an overwhelming field of heat signatures from the fire itself. A partial ceiling collapse compelled him to withdraw briefly, locating an alternative passage through what had previously served as a first-floor community room. The ticking clock was a significant challenge, not only due to the increasingly hazardous building conditions but also because of his dwindling air supply. His tank indicated he had approximately 15 minutes remaining before he would be compelled to retreat or risk suffocation. "Bark if you hear me, Ash," he called out, hoping the instruction would prompt a reply he could track. Initially, there was only the chaotic noise of a collapsing building. Then, a distinct bark echoed from within, and Alex focused on the sound, advancing with determination. After 3 minutes of cautious movement, he reached a corridor unfamiliar to him. Fallen support beams had broken through the ceiling, forming a dangerous path of burning wreckage. The temperature was exceptionally high, and the faceplate of his mask was exhibiting clear signs of heat stress. Another bark, closer now, directed him onward. Finally, through a haze of smoke, Alex observed a recognizable figure. Ash, partially hidden by scattered wreckage, yet undeniably alive and working with considerable urgency. Ash, thank God! Alex exhaled, swiftly approaching to reach his comrade. What he discovered stunned him utterly. Ash surveyed a large accumulation of rubble, seemingly from a collapsed interior wall and ceiling. The dog was digging and pulling at the debris, stopping briefly to look back at Alex with a desperate, urgent expression. Someone was trapped beneath. Alex knelt beside Ash, working quickly to move the debris that had so agitated the dog. Good boy, he said, even as his gloved hands tore at shattered drywall and splintered wood. Show me, Ash. Show me where. Ash increased his efforts in a particular area, his nose working tirelessly despite the dense smoke. Alex concentrated his efforts there as well, disregarding the precarious sounds of the building around them and the decreasing air pressure indicated on his gauge. Almost overlooking it when his glove brushed against an unexpected object, Ash's urgent calls redirected his focus. Working with urgency, Alex cleared more debris and located what Ash had identified. A human hand, small and delicate, was visible beneath the rubble. With a racing heart, he checked the wrist, hoping for a sign that seemed unlikely given the circumstances, and felt it a pulse, faint but discernible. I've got a victim, he announced into his radio. Adrenaline flooded his system, causing his voice to waver. First floor, east corridor under collapse. Victim is alive. Repeat, live victim. With painstaking effort, he removed more of the wreckage, exposing more of the person trapped, a teenage girl who was unconscious but alive. Her face was partially shielded by what looked like a bathroom door that had fallen at an angle over her. Hang on, he murmured, knowing she couldn't hear him. We're going to get you out. The scene was intensely difficult. He could now see her clearly. However, substantial portions of wall and ceiling still held her lower body. Moving the victim without the right tools created a risk of additional injury or a potential destabilization of the entire collapse section. A loud groaning from above signaled a possible further collapse. Simultaneously, his air gauge indicated a 5-minute warning. He faced difficult decisions. Remain with the victim and risk all three of them being buried, or leave to seek assistance, with the possibility of returning to find the girl crushed by a subsequent collapse. The choice was made for him when Ash abruptly stiffened, ears pointed towards the hallway. Shortly after, the welcome appearance of 2 firefighters in full gear appeared from the smoke. Over here, Alex called, a wave of relief washing over him. We have a live victim. The RIT team reacted swiftly, evaluating the situation with practiced efficiency. We need to reinforce this before extraction, the leader decided. Hansen, retrieve the portable stabilizers from your pack. Collaborating, the 3 firefighters meticulously placed emergency bracing to avoid additional collapse while they rescued the trapped girl. Ash remained nearby, his presence offering an unusual sense of reassurance within the chaotic scene, as he persistently monitored the girl. On 3, the RIT leader instructed when they were prepared. 1, 2, 3. They raised the heaviest piece of debris jointly, enabling the second team member to swiftly extract the girl. Alex quickly rechecked her vitals. She was still alive, though her breathing was shallow and labored. Let's move now, the leader ordered. This whole section is going to collapse any second. Alex scooped the girl into his arms while the RIT members gathered their equipment. She was lighter than expected, likely no more than 15 or 16 years old. Her right leg was at an unusual angle, clearly broken, and a jagged piece of glass had become lodged in her shoulder. Although she sustained injuries, smoke inhalation presented the most pressing danger to her. Guided by Ash, they commenced their withdrawal through the burning structure. The dog's search and rescue training, now focused on locating an escape route, proved invaluable, a skill that had previously saved numerous lives, including those of fellow firefighters, facing swiftly evolving circumstances. As they retreated, the ceiling collapsed entirely, unleashing a wave of dust and debris that pursued them along the corridor. The building was nearing the end of its structural failure, complete collapse now unavoidable. Alex's air supply emitted its last alert sound as they neared what had previously been the building's primary entrance. His vision was starting to narrow, potentially due to lack of oxygen or intense fatigue, but he would not release his grip on the girl. Ash remained slightly ahead, finding a path through the smoke with remarkable accuracy. Following what felt like an endless amount of time, a rectangular area of lighter gray emerged within the pervasive black smoke, signifying the exit. Alex, using his remaining strength, advanced forward, with Ash providing steadfast guidance during those essential final steps. They broke through the doorway into the comparatively brighter environment outside. They emerged through a dense cloud of smoke, just as another portion of the building crumbled behind them with a deafening crash. The shift from the inferno to the open air was startling, from a deafening roar to the organized chaos of the command area. For a moment, Alex simply stood there, the unconscious girl cradled in his arms, Ash pressed against his leg. All three of them appeared as living sculptures of ash and exhaustion. "We need a medic," someone shouted, and suddenly they were surrounded by paramedics, hands reaching for the girl, voices overlapping in a rapid assessment. A female adolescent, approximately 15 to 16 years of age, Alex reported as he gently transferred her to the waiting gurney. She was found unconscious, with shallow breathing, a weak but present pulse, a fractured right femur, and a laceration to her left shoulder with embedded glass. Probable smoke inhalation was also noted. While preparations were underway to transfer the girl to the ambulance, Alex observed something held in her hand, a small silver locket, its chain wrapped firmly around her fingers, seemingly the most valuable thing she possessed. "Wait," he stated, indicating it, "ensure that remains with her. Could be significant." Only then did Alex permit himself to be directed towards the medical assessment area, Ash walking with a slight limp beside him. Dr. Chun went directly to examine the dog, while another paramedic urged Alex to sit down and accept oxygen. A second-degree burn was observed on his left flank, Dr. Chun reported, carefully cleaning the injury. Minor burns were present on all four paw pads, even with the boots. He is severely dehydrated and showing signs of smoke inhalation, but his condition is not critical. "Both of you need treatment," stated Chief Martinez, whose voice was stern, as he arrived amidst the organized chaos of the scene. His face held a complex blend of anger and satisfaction. "Sir, I can explain," Alex started, but Martinez interrupted. "You disregarded instructions, put yourself and the RIT team at risk, and broke established procedures," he said, adding, "all of which we will review once medical personnel confirm you are both stable." His expression eased a little. Was Ash correct? The girl? Was she at the location he specified? Alex confirmed the precise location, buried beneath collapsed debris within the former apartment 104. Conventional search and rescue efforts would not have led us to her. 2 weeks later, Alex and Ash were at Westside Fire Station 12 for an event that had been presented as a modest acknowledgement of their actions. The station's apparatus bay had been decorated with department flags and arranged with rows of chairs intended for city officials, emergency services representatives, and members of the media. While the mayor presented citations for extraordinary service, the station doors opened, revealing unexpected guests, Thomas and Jennifer Harmon, and notably, their daughter, Lily. The teenager moved carefully, using crutches. Her broken leg was encased in a cast adorned with numerous signatures. "We heard about today's recognition," Thomas said. Lily emphasized her desire to be present. The teenager approached Ash, who remained in a formal seated posture, but couldn't hide a subtle tail wag indicating he recognized her. "The doctors say I can return to school next week," Lily told Alex. "I still need physical therapy for my leg, but my lungs are almost completely recovered." She awkwardly lowered herself despite using her crutches to be at the dog's eye level. "I brought something for you," she said, reaching into her pocket. She crafted a miniature replica of her grandmother's silver locket, designed to fit on a dog's collar. "It's not the original," she clarified. "That remains with me, but I wanted Ash to have something as well." She looked at Alex. "Would it be all right to fasten it to his collar?" With deliberate movements, Lily secured the small silver locket to Ash's collar. "Now you'll always have a reminder of the life you saved." Subsequently, while traversing the well-known hallways of Station 12, Captain Jenkins approached them. "Welcome back, you two. Ready to get to work?" Alex looked down at Ash, who responded with that characteristic look of complete preparedness, the working dog's version of excitement restrained by training. "Yes, sir," Alex replied, experiencing a sense of completeness for the first time since their experience. "We're ready." Have you ever observed an animal detect something that humans entirely overlooked? It's striking how their instincts can occasionally detect dangers that remain unnoticed by our presumed advanced senses. What action would you have taken if you were in Alex's position? Would you have trusted your partner's instincts enough to risk everything? If you've ever developed a special connection with an animal, you know that communication extends beyond commands and training. Has a pet or working animal ever surprised you with their intelligence in a critical moment? If today's story resonated with you, please click the like button to assist us in reaching a wider audience of animal enthusiasts. Remember to subscribe to our channel for more captivating canine narratives and tap the notification bell to stay informed about our latest uploads. Kindly share this video with friends and family who admire the incredible skills of working dogs. Be sure to view our additional stories about brave dogs currently playing, including the remarkable account of a tracking dog who located a lost Alzheimer's patient during a blizzard. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, with another brand new video. A police officer is sentenced to death for a murder he maintains he did not commit. As time dwindles, his devoted German shepherd refuses to abandon hope, sensing a truth others miss. Then, just days before the execution, the dog performs an extraordinary act that alters the course of events. But will this astounding revelation arrive too late to save his partner's life? And what dangerous secret has been concealed so thoroughly that only a dog's instincts could reveal it? Please share in the comments below where you're watching from. If you enjoy extraordinary canine stories like this one, remember to subscribe. You won't want to miss future episodes. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead in courtroom March 11, 10, casting harsh shadows across Jack Calloway's face. 15 years spent on the Portland police force had taught him to manage his expressions, but even his considerable training couldn't fully hide the tightness in his jaw as he awaited the verdict. His service weapon and badge were absent, substituted by handcuffs that pressed into his wrists. Judge Martinez's gavel broke the heavy silence. Has the jury reached a verdict? The jury forewoman rose, her voice trembling a little as she opened the paper she held. Jack's gaze swept the room with practiced precision. His lawyer, David Walsh, held his pen with such force that his knuckles were pale. District Attorney Peterson's lips curved subtly upward. In the rear, Eva Mercer remained rigidly upright, her expression carefully neutral. She had been his associate for 6 years, yet she might as well have been an unknown. Regarding the case of the state versus Jack Calloway, concerning the charge of first-degree murder, the defendant has been found. The forewoman hesitated, adjusting her voice. Guilty. The pronouncement struck Jack with a palpable force, yet he remained motionless. The courtroom filled with hushed intakes of breath and murmurs. The jury suggests execution by lethal injection. Jack tightened his jaw as his thoughts rapidly reviewed the evidence that had determined his outcome. The murder weapon discovered in his garage was free of fingerprints. The security footage depicted someone of similar stature entering Senator Harrison's residence, and a witness testified to having seen his car parked nearby that night. The evidence appeared impeccable, almost too impeccable. However, he possessed the true account. Outside the courthouse, Bolt awaited his temporary handler. The German shepherd's ears rose at the sound of the substantial doors opening. As Jack emerged in handcuffs, Bolt's entire body stiffened. He gave a sharp bark, straining against his leash so powerfully that Officer Torres nearly lost his balance. "Easy, boy," Torres said, working to keep hold. But Bolt's barking escalated, becoming more panicked. The dog perceived a problem. He felt it with an intuition that surpassed human comprehension. From the courthouse steps, Eva watched, her hands trembling slightly as she pulled her jacket tighter against the October chill. She'd tracked down murderers with Jack, broken up drug rings, survived shootouts. Now she was watching him being taken away as one of the criminals they'd sworn to stop. The evidence had seemed solid when she'd first reviewed it. Too solid, a voice in her head whispered. Across 15 years in law enforcement, she hadn't encountered a case conclude with such precision, each element fitting seamlessly. It resembled a connect-the-dots illustration of culpability, where the connections were made without any questioning of the resulting form. Jack maintained his gaze ahead as they escorted him toward the prisoner transport van, Bolt's escalating barks reverberating against the courthouse walls. The dog's unease broke through Eva's professional composure. Throughout 4 years of service, Bolt had never been mistaken about an individual. Not a single time. As the transport van departed, Bolt's barks softened into subdued, sorrowful whimpers. The German shepherd looked toward Eva, his brown eyes conveying a level of understanding that made her pause. She crouched down next to him, stroking his dense coat. "It's all right, boy," she murmured, primarily to herself rather than to the dog. "Something feels amiss, and we will discover what it is." District Attorney Peterson walked past, his expression conveying his recent victory. "Good work today, Detective Mercer. Justice was served," he said. However, Eva detected something in his delivery. Felt like a warning, or maybe a challenge. She recalled Jack's words from 3 weeks prior, shortly before his arrest. "There's something bigger going on here, Eva. The Harrison case. It's just the surface." She had disregarded his worries then, preoccupied with the increasing evidence against him. Observing Peterson walk away, while Bolt growled quietly beside her, she pondered what her partner had uncovered that warranted framing him for murder. The van vanished around the corner, transporting Jack toward death row. Bolt's posture became rigid, his ears attentive, as if he sensed Eva's hardening determination. She rose, her decision becoming clear. Jack had instructed her that the truth wasn't always as it appeared. The moment had arrived to apply those lessons and uncover the truth surrounding Senator Harrison's death, before time expired for her partner. The metal door of cell 241 closed with a hollow clang that seemed to resonate through Jack's bones. The confined space felt like a tomb. It contained bare concrete walls, a narrow cot with a thin mattress, and a stainless steel/toilet sink combination that had seen better days. A single artificial light buzzed overhead, offering no natural illumination. "Welcome to death row, detective," the guard stated, his voice devoid of feeling. Or, as he added, ex-detective. Jack remained still, positioned in the middle of his cell, his thoughts wrestling with the starkness of his circumstances. The sound of the guard's footsteps diminished as he walked away, leaving Jack solitary, accompanied by the echoes of metal doors, indistinct voices, and his own introspection. Across town, Eva opened the door to her apartment, Bolt following closely. She had intended to provide him with a temporary residence until alternative arrangements were finalized, but the German shepherd appeared to have his own agenda. He moved restlessly between the door and the window, his nails tapping against the hardwood floor. Frequently, he would pause and whine, looking at Eva with eyes that seemed to convey an urgent message. Eva arranged the case files on her kitchen table, the lamp creating long shadows on the wall. She had examined them a dozen times prior to the trial, but something about Bolt's behavior at the courthouse had ignited a renewed sense of purpose. Her focus initially landed on the murder weapon, a .45 caliber pistol discovered in Jack's garage 3 days following Senator Harrison's death. The ballistics analysis confirmed a perfect match, and the gun had been meticulously cleaned to remove fingerprints. She mused it was almost excessively clean, recalling Jack's insistence on meticulous weapon upkeep. Had he employed it, there would have been traces of gun oil, rather than this pristine condition. Bolt abruptly ceased his pacing, his head turning sharply towards Eva's front door. A low growl emanated from his throat as footsteps neared in the hallway. Eva's hand automatically moved to her service weapon, but the footsteps continued past. Bolt's growl subsided, although his vigilance persisted, his body rigid and prepared. Her phone vibrated. A message from Detective Rodriguez read, "Leave it alone, Mercer. The case is closed." Eva's jaw clenched. She hadn't informed anyone that she was examining the files. The following morning, she went to the evidence lockup, displaying her badge to Officer Chin. "I need to review some items from the Harrison case." Chin seemed uneasy. "That's been sealed by the DA's office. It requires special clearance now." "Since when?" Eva asked. "Orders came down this morning." "Sorry, Eva." Returning to her desk, Eva started examining Harrison's actions prior to his death. The senator had been involved in multiple significant undertakings, but one was particularly noteworthy: a sequence of private discussions regarding the city's upcoming highway development project. Involving millions in contracts, the project had been expedited despite considerable environmental worries. Bolt, lying beneath her desk, suddenly became attentive. His ears rose as Captain Rivera neared. Mercer, Rivera's voice remained quiet but resolute, informed him of a call from the district attorney's office. They expressed concern regarding his recent investigations. It was simply a matter of finalizing outstanding details, sir. The matters are resolved. Please cease your pursuit. He hesitated, his demeanor relaxing a little. Avoid complicating the situation unnecessarily. That evening, Eva walked Bolt as they regularly did. The German Shepherd guided her along their known path, but when they neared the location of the new highway construction, he abruptly halted. He sniffed the air, guiding Eva towards a construction trailer. Situated behind it, obscured by scattered materials, she located a damaged piece of paper. Despite the deterioration from mud and water, she discerned a few words: Harrison and payment schedule. With a slight tremor in her hands, Eva photographed the fragment and then placed it in an evidence bag. Bolt remained watchful, his stance stiff, observing the surrounding shadows. A car engine started in the vicinity. Eva noticed a dark sedan driving away, its headlights extinguished. It appeared someone had been observing her. Upon returning home, Eva's computer received an encrypted communication from her contact within the forensics lab. They confirmed a match based on the partial prints she had requested, but noted an anomaly. The file had been altered, requiring a higher level of security clearance that her contact lacked. Eva was preparing to reply when Bolt's growl shattered the silence. She glanced around and saw a small red dot flickering on her wall. It was a laser sight. Without hesitation, she dropped to the floor as her window exploded inward. Glass rained down as Bolt's powerful barks filled the apartment. Eva crawled to her weapon, her heart pounding. It was clear now. She wasn't just chasing a theory anymore. She was getting close to something, and someone was willing to kill to keep it hidden. The early morning fog clung to Eva's shoes as she and Bolt approached the back entrance of the Harrison estate. Fragments of yellow police tape drifted in the breeze, a diminishing echo of the senator's tragic death. She had leveraged her connections to gain access, a final inspection of the property prior to its sale. Bolt proceeded purposefully, his nose actively analyzing the air as he tracked a scent trail perceptible only to him. Eva, experienced with numerous K-9 teams, could immediately sense when a dog had identified something significant. The German Shepherd guided her through the pristine garden, disregarding the clear access points, directly to a somewhat concealed storm cellar. This wasn't present in the initial crime scene photographs, Eva commented, observing the sturdy padlock. A swift scan with her flashlight uncovered another detail: recent scratch marks near the keyhole. Later, at the precinct, Eva was thoroughly reviewing Harrison's financial records when her computer screen abruptly went dark. A notification displayed: system maintenance required. Access to all files was disrupted. That's not a coincidence, she murmured to Bolt, who was watchful under her desk. 3 other detectives expressed frustration with their screens. The shutdown affected the entire department. Her disposable phone vibrated. "Meet me at Riverside Park. 1 hour." She recognized the message. I knew Harrison. The voice was male, elderly, and unknown. Eva located her informant on a quiet bench, scattering seed for pigeons. Former Judge Michael Conway retired 3 years ago following 2 decades of service on the bench. A month prior to his passing, Harrison informed me, Conway stated, without raising his gaze from the pigeons. He claimed to have uncovered details regarding the highway project, noting discrepancies in the bidding procedures, shell corporations, and millions of dollars diverted to offshore accounts. I inquired why he hadn't testified during the trial. Conway's hands shook as he tossed more breadcrumbs. He explained that the last individual Harrison shared his concerns with subsequently died in a robbery gone wrong. I then questioned him about his partner. He finally made eye contact. Calloway was getting too close. They needed him removed. A jogger approached. Conway became silent until they passed. Harrison maintained proof. Records, recordings, everything. A sudden sharp sound echoed through the air. Conway lowered his head, a tiny red mark appearing on his forehead. Bolt's warning bark arrived a fraction of a second too late. Eva moved quickly to safety behind a concrete planter as another shot stirred up dirt close to her feet. Bolt remained down low, his training taking over as he directed her towards the nearest exit. They reached her car as police sirens started to sound faintly in the distance. That evening, Eva remained in her apartment, her hands still trembling as she examined her notes. Conway's final words resonated in her mind. Harrison possessed evidence. The storm cellar. It needed to be there. Her phone sounded. Jack's lawyer. They were accelerating the execution date. There were 2 weeks, possibly fewer. Eva's stomach sank. 2 weeks. It wasn't sufficient time. A scrape at her window startled her, but it was merely a tree branch. Then she observed a detail. The limb was positioned too near. It hadn't been that close yesterday. Bolt check, she instructed. The German shepherd proceeded to the window, his demeanor shifting immediately. A suppressed growl emanated from his chest. Eva cautiously drew back the drape. A compact camera had been affixed to the branch, its lens focused squarely on her desk. The following morning, she returned to the Harrison estate prior to sunrise. Her lock picks compromised the storm cellar lock after 10 fraught minutes. Bolt initiated the descent, his training evident as he swiftly cleared the area. The cellar was bare, containing only a steel filing cabinet and a laptop coated in dust. Eva felt disheartened, but Bolt began nudging a particular point on the floor. His actions were clear, he had located something. A dislodged floorboard exposed a concealed compartment. Within it, a waterproof case held precisely what Conway had described: files, USB drives, and a voice recorder. Eva had just obtained the evidence when Bolt's warning bark broke the quiet. Footsteps sounded from above. Detective Mercer's voice called down, a sound she recognized. "Find anything of note?" A chill went through her. It was Captain Rivera. He continued, "I genuinely hoped you'd be more perceptive than Calloway. That you'd grasp that certain questions are best left unanswered." His flashlight beam sliced through the gloom as he came down the stairs. Eva detected the unmistakable sound of a firearm being prepared. Bolt placed himself between Eva and the looming danger, his body tense and prepared. They were confined below ground with incriminating proof and a compromised senior officer. Regardless of what transpired next, there was no possibility of retreat. Eva's thoughts hurried as Rivera's footsteps echoed down the basement stairs. Her weapon was raised, but eliminating her captain would only confirm Jack's belief in everyone's perception. Bolt stayed completely motionless, anticipating her order. Rivera stated, his voice unusually calm, that Harrison never grasped the larger context. He added that this was similar to Jack and similar to you. A loud crash occurred from above. Bolt had tipped over a metal trash can close to the cellar entrance during their previous search. Rivera reacted immediately, turning toward the sound. Eva took advantage of the opportunity, tackling him as Bolt moved forward, grabbing Rivera's gun hand. The weapon fell down the stairs. Eva fastened Rivera's hands behind his back using restraints. "The larger issue. Are you referring to the highway project fraud?" Rivera chuckled, a grating sound in the poorly lit cellar. "Do you believe this concerns a few $1 million in construction kickbacks?" Harrison uncovered a significantly larger scheme. "Why do you suppose they worked so hard to expedite Jack's conviction?" Before Eva could reply, radio transmissions crackled from above. Rivera's reinforcements were approaching. She took the evidence case and moved further into the cellar. Bolt guided her toward a corroded maintenance tunnel, a means of escape absent from any architectural drawings. They appeared 2 blocks away precisely as police sirens approached the Harrison estate. Eva's disposable phone vibrated. A message arrived from an unidentified sender. Storage Unit 247, Riverside Rentals, code 5891. Proceed quickly. The storage facility stood empty upon their arrival. Unit 247's lock disengaged. exposing a limited area holding just a laptop and a manila envelope. The laptop activated, displaying a video file already prepared. Senator Harrison's face appeared on the screen, the timestamp indicating 3 days prior to his murder. The message began, "If you are viewing this, I am likely deceased. What I have discovered extends beyond corruption. The highway project serves as a disguise. The construction company, the offshore accounts, they all conceal something significantly greater. Criminal enterprises, including international drug trafficking and weapon shipments, are utilizing our port. Law enforcement, judicial figures, and city officials appear to be complicit. I have gathered evidence implicating everyone, including..." The recording ended unexpectedly. Eva examined the manila envelope, discovering photographs of prominent officials at clandestine gatherings, financial records detailing substantial transfers, and a roster of individuals. Her hands shook as she identified them: judges, politicians, and senior police personnel. Alongside each name, a corresponding number appeared, presumably indicating their share of the undertaking. Bolt's cautionary growl resonated just as the storage unit's door violently shut, casting them into complete darkness. The sound of a padlock securing itself reverberated within the restricted area. "Detective Mercer?" A voice called out from beyond the door. "District Attorney Peterson." A statement followed. "I have to admit, you've been more persistent than we anticipated, but this ends now." The distinct odor of gasoline drifted in from beneath the door. Eva's heart pounded as she listened to liquid being poured near the unit. "It's unfortunate," Peterson said. "A distressed detective, struggling with her partner's conviction, experiences a devastating accident while investigating conspiracy theories. That's the story the newspapers will present." Eva felt along the unit's rear wall, locating what she had observed previously: a maintenance panel weakened by age. As Peterson spoke at length outside, she silently worked it free. The service weapon would be located in the ashes, naturally, along with any evidence you believe you've uncovered. A regrettable conclusion, but unavoidable. The clear sound of a lighter igniting prompted Eva to move. She forced open the panel, entering a confined maintenance corridor. Bolt followed closely as flames erupted behind them. They reached the open air as smoke began pouring from the storage facility. Eva had succeeded in concealing the laptop and key documents within her jacket, though she anticipated Peterson would believe everything had been destroyed. Her phone vibrated. A message arrived from Jack's attorney. The execution date was established: 8 days. Eva glanced at Bolt. His fur soiled from their flight, yet his eyes were watchful and prepared. They possessed the evidence now, sufficient to reveal everything. However, with Jack's execution expedited and dishonest officials present at all levels, time was dwindling. A notification sounded on her disposable phone, another message from an unknown sender. "They are transporting something significant through the port tomorrow night. Pier 23. This is what Harrison lost his life attempting to reveal." Eva stroked Bolt's ears, her determination strengthening. "What do you say, boy? A final opportunity to dismantle them all?" Bolt's firm bark was the response she required. 7 days remained until Jack's scheduled execution. Eva positioned her car near Pier 23, Bolt watchful in the rear seat. The port security cameras had inexplicably stopped functioning 10 minutes prior. Through her binoculars, she observed unmarked trucks maneuvering to the rear of a recently arrived cargo ship. "This is Detective Mercer," she murmured into her encrypted radio. "Activity confirmed at Pier 23. Standing by for federal response." Following her escape from the storage fire, she had reached out to the one person she could still trust, FBI agent Sarah Chun, who had previously collaborated with Jack on a joint task force years ago. The evidence Eva had secured was now safely in federal custody, but more was required. They needed to apprehend the individuals involved. Bolt's quiet growl alerted her to activity on the pier. A recognizable figure emerged from a black SUV, Captain Rivera, having been released on bail just hours ago. He was accompanied by District Attorney Peterson and a man Eva identified from Harrison's photos, Marcus Reynolds, CEO of the construction company at the core of the situation. Her radio transmitted a message: All units maintain current positions. A sudden, forceful rap on her passenger window startled Eva. She turned to see Peterson there, a gun pointed at her head. "You're becoming a real problem, Detective," he said, his smile chilling in the darkness. "Get out of the car. Both of you." As Eva exited, Bolt following closely, she observed other people stepping out of the shadows. They had been anticipating her. "Your persistence is admirable," Peterson stated, leading them toward the pier. "But did you truly believe we wouldn't be monitoring you? That we didn't anticipate your actions?" Rivera moved closer, manipulating Eva's radio. "Reinforcements from the federal government aren't arriving. That frequency has been compromised for several hours." They were directed to the location where Reynolds was watching the unloading process. Boxes were rapidly moved from the ship to the trucks. "You find it amusing, don't you?" Reynolds commented without looking at Eva. Jack nearly understood everything. The construction project, the port access, everything. He concentrated excessively on Harrison and neglected to scrutinize his own department. "You are correct," Eva responded, her hand moving slowly to her back. "He should have." Bolt's ears twitched at the sound of footsteps on metal overhead. Eva smiled. "However, I did." Gunfire erupted as FBI snipers opened fire from the surrounding cargo containers. The genuine raid team had never employed the radio. That was a diversion intended to elicit their observation. Disorder broke out on the pier. Peterson raised his weapon, but Bolt acted more swiftly, propelling himself at the DA with practiced accuracy. Eva took cover as gunfire began from multiple directions. "FBI! Everyone on the ground!" Through the confusion, Eva noticed Rivera moving toward a vehicle. She gave chase with Bolt close behind as FBI teams took control of the area. Preventing Rivera's escape was crucial. He represented their connection to everyone implicated, extending to the highest echelons. The pursuit led them through a complex arrangement of cargo containers. Rivera was attempting to reach a waiting boat. They had only seconds to prevent him. "Bolt, stop him," Eva ordered. The German Shepherd surged forward, a swift display of focused strength, precisely as Rivera arrived at the boat's ladder. Bolt's jaws closed on Rivera's leg, causing him to fall heavily onto the dock. As Eva restrained him, Rivera exclaimed, "You have no idea what you've done." As others learned, they already knew. Eva interrupted, noting the increasing number of FBI vehicles. "We didn't just target you tonight. Teams are engaging with judges, politicians, and police officials throughout the city." It's finished. Her phone vibrated. A message from Agent Chun. "Evidence secured. Proceeding to the governor's office now. Instruct Jack to remain." Eva glanced at her watch. 6 days, 13 hours remained until the execution. For the first time in weeks, she permitted herself a glimmer of hope. A chill ran down her spine, even as Rivera's laughter echoed as she led him away in cuffs. "You really think this is over?" She wondered. There's still time for accidents to happen, especially in prison. 20 hours remained until Jack's execution. Despite the FBI raids and mounting evidence, the governor hadn't signed the stay of execution. Eva paced the prison's administrative office while Bolt sat alert by the door. "Someone's blocking our access to the governor," Agent Chin explained, frustration evident in her voice. "Whenever we approach a resolution, we're being rerouted to less senior personnel. They appear to be delaying action." Eva's phone received a notification. It was an encrypted message from an unidentified sender. "Loading dock, prison kitchen, midnight. Your partner will not survive until morning." She presented the message to Chun. "They are planning their operation tonight. We cannot initiate a movement of Jack without the necessary approval," Chun cautioned. "If we are incorrect, the consequences will be significant." Eva glanced at her watch. It was 11:45 p.m., and we have exhausted our available time. The prison's loading dock lay in shadows and silence as Eva and Bolt established their concealed location. Using her night vision scope, she identified 3 individuals near the kitchen entrance. One was dressed in a guard's uniform. "Target confirmed," she murmured into her radio. "They're here." The compromised guard unlocked the door, and 2 additional figures entered. Eva identified one by his characteristic limp. Marcus Reynolds himself had arrived to guarantee Jack's silence. Hold position, Chen's voice crackled in Eva's earpiece. Minutes passed slowly. Eva's heart raced as she pictured them moving through the prison's corridors toward death row. Toward Jack. Suddenly, Bolt's ears twitched. A different sound. A vehicle approaching rapidly from behind. We've got company, Eva warned, but it was too late. Floodlights burst on, revealing the loading dock. They had entered a trap. Detective Mercer, District Attorney Peterson's voice, resonated through a megaphone. He had secured bail just hours prior. Did you genuinely believe we'd permit your interference? Gunfire broke out from several locations. Eva and Bolt took cover behind concrete barriers as bullets ricocheted off metal nearby. Over her radio, she heard Chen's team clashing with hostiles on the opposite side of the prison. Chun is dividing our forces. Reynolds is still moving toward Jack. Chun shouted back over the sound of gunfire, "Little busy here." Eva looked at Bolt and saw the same determination in his eyes that she felt. "Ready, boy?" The German shepherd's muscles tensed in response. They moved as one, Eva providing covering fire while Bolt charged forward, a focused missile of fur and fury. He crashed into the nearest gunman, creating the opening they needed. They sprinted for the kitchen entrance, bullets tracking their path. Within, they detected the sound of footsteps resonating along the corridor leading to death row. A contest was unfolding, and failure was not an option. The execution chamber awaited at the corridor's conclusion. This time, there would be no further opportunities. 2 months later, Jack Calloway stood in the morning sunlight outside the courthouse, Bolt positioned beside him. The press conference had just concluded. The investigation revealed a sprawling corruption scheme involving 37 indictments, including 2 judges, the district attorney, and multiple high-ranking police officials. The corruption network that had nearly cost Jack his life was finally exposed. Eva observed from the sidelines as Jack knelt to ruffle Bolt's fur. The German shepherd's tail wagged with unrestrained joy, a stark contrast to his desperate barks on that fateful day of the conviction. Some attributed their discovery of the truth to mere luck, but Eva knew better. Occasionally, the most dependable evaluator of character walked on 4 legs. If you found this story as remarkable as we did, please share it with fellow K9 and true crime enthusiasts. What moment kept you captivated? Let us know in the comments below. We're also interested to know where in the world you are watching this compelling story of loyalty and justice from. Share your location in the comments. Ring that notification bell to ensure you never miss an upload. For more amazing K9 cases, please view our latest videos now. Until next time, remember, sometimes the biggest heroes have 4 paws and a badge.